So I'm coming back with a mixture of dark green, burnt sienna, and raw sienna. So I've got a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and then a little bit of my dark green that I've been using. Keeping the colors very similar, but then changing them up by adding the brown and the raw sienna to it. I'm going to go ahead and let it get darker in some places and lighter in other places. I can use logic for that, or I can just let it happen. Either one is going to look all right with this particular composition. So you're starting to see everything come together. We've got paint on the whole paper now, but the next thing that we're going to want to do, mix up more of our nice dark green that we were practicing with earlier and put some cattails in. Again, we're going to do these kind of strategically, thinking about the rule of thirds, which means that I probably want to put something right here, right here, right here, or right here, because if I divided this paper into thirds, that's where my hash marks would be crossing, giving those the most powerful spots. It's like the L1 point for satellites. So I've got my brown. I'm going to add green to it. Got a nice dark color mixed up here, making sure there's plenty of green in that, because the green takes a little more time to mix up than the brown from the tube will. I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'm thinking of 3 different colors I'd like to add to that. But this particular third is not going to be a great place to put a focal point because it's so dark already. So I'm going to go ahead and imagine that I'm going to have a cattail poking up right here for this top third. It's going to overlap the sky. So I'm putting my point of view as though we're sitting down pretty low on the shore so that my viewpoint is below where the cattails are. And with this one, I don't want a single clump. I'd like to stretch across a lot of this portion of the lake. I'm not painting the bottom edge of these. I'm letting it go right off of my page. And I'm going to want a couple of them that are just tall enough to overlap the sky up there. Mostly I'm coming from top to bottom with these. Every once in a while, changing it up varies the texture of your painting. And then I'm putting a lot more shorter ones at the bottom. So at the top, there's only a few that grow really tall. And at the bottom, I'm covering up almost everything behind it. I can even come in here with a little extra color and just fill in here and there. Because between these blades of the cattail leaves is extra shadow. It's going to be very dark, so I won't be able to see it as brightly as I can this area. One more mix to make this little corner darker. Again, layering until it looks pleasant. I can see a little more of the water here than I want to, so I'm going to layer a few more cattails here, making a denser cattail population right here and letting it fade out towards that side so you can see more of the water behind it. Nice big tall ones over here, filling this in even more. couple more dark ones over here. So I don't want to fill it in completely, but I want some darker color here. So I'm going to go over that one again. And then maybe over one of these guys. So our final step for the cattails, we're going to mix up a mostly brown, a little bit of green, but very dark. I'm going to find that third right here, and I'm going to put my cattail right across that point. Nice and dark, and I'm going to run this all the way through that clump of cattails there. And anything silhouetted against the light like that is going to look very, very black. So that's a cattail there. I'm going to go ahead and put one more right here. Again, very, very black, because it has to show against all of these other dark colors, giving you the idea that there is a large solid object right there. I'm going to go over that one more time because I can see through it a little bit more than I want to. And I can come back after it dries and do that as well. So we've got that. I'm going to put a little bit of foliage over on this end as well. I'm not going to follow my cattail idea as much. We're going to say this is a different kind of plant. I want it to overlap and do the framing of the lake just a little bit. So I'm running it up the very side of my painting, and I'm going to come in front of that far shoreline too, so you can see the difference between those really dark plants that are up close and the shoreline that's got a little bit more reflected light on it. I'm going to do a clump of grass mirroring the shape of the cattails. I probably should switch to a smaller brush for this. I'm not going to, but it would make the delicacy of this smaller and further away plant a little bit easier to depict. And then around the base of these plants, I'm going to give it some shadow. And some more grasses kind of growing over the edge into the water, also with shadows there. A little bit of texture here, so I'm going to do a dry brush. You notice this is the green and the brown, same colors we've been using this entire time, but it's coming across very black on top of this slightly warmer brown that I created. One more layer here over this cattail just to really make it dark. You can see how dark it was before, but making it darker even is a subtle difference. I'm going to make that point a little pointier and a little taller there, giving that cattail a strong presence. And then I'm going to do the same for this one that's getting kind of lost in the dark trees there. Just a shadow, really. And I think we're done with that one.